Broadcasting live from the Business Radio X studios in Atlanta, Georgia, it's time for Atlanta Business Radio. Brought to you by OnPay. Built in Atlanta, OnPay is the top-rated payroll and HR software anywhere. Get 1 month free at onpay.com. Now, here's your host.
Lee Cantor here, another episode of Atlanta Business Radio, and this is going to be a fun one. And remember, we couldn't be doing this work without the support of our sponsor, OnPay, so please support them so we can continue to share these important stories. Today on Atlanta Business Radio, we have Katie MacKenzie, and she's with Open Hand Atlanta. Welcome, Katie.
Hi, thank you so much. Thanks for having me today.
Before we get too far into things, tell us about Open Hand. How are you serving folks?
Sure. So Open Hand, we have been in the Atlanta community over 30 years. And when we were started, we first began with one gentleman who, during the height of the AIDS crisis, was cooking and preparing home-cooked meals for 14 of his friends and neighbors who were dying and disenfranchised by the HIV/AIDS epidemic. And of course, this was at the height of the AIDS crisis and people were scared. There was a lot of information about the disease and things like that. But what our founder did know was that by providing these folks with meals, healthy meals, it was improving their quality of life, most importantly, showing love and showing them that they mattered, that they cared. So Open Hand, now 30 years later, we still have that as sort of the heart of what we do. So our mission is we cook, we deliver, we teach, we care. And we still serve the most vulnerable here in Atlanta and the surrounding counties with home-cooked meals that are prepared in our kitchen. What went from serving about 14 of our founder's closest friends now is us preparing and packaging over 5,000 meals a day out of our campus to those who are living with any critical or chronic nutrition-sensitive disease.
What a great example of how one person can make a difference and how what started was a generous gesture to his neighbors has kind of touched so many people and have really had a tremendous impact, for decades now. That's an amazing story.
Thank you. We're very, very proud of our history, and we're very, very proud of where we are today and the reputation that we've gained, and that we are still able to serve and show love through something as simple as food to those, again, who are most vulnerable and often overlooked, and who, we keep that component of home delivered meals because, as I said, we want to make sure that access is removed as a barrier, that these folks get the food and nutrition that they need.
Now, is there any work being done for the COVID-19 people that are dealing with this pandemic?
Absolutely. So we are actually we may not be healthcare workers, and we are so grateful for all of those who were on the front lines as, working in our hospitals and all of our first responders, but we are absolutely an essential service. I'm sure people have seen, the pictures and videos of lines and lines of cars and people who during this time are feeling the effects of everything that's going on, making folks food insecure. So we actually, Open Hand, has stepped up in a big way to help. So of course, we're continuing to serve our clients that we already have been serving. And our clients, again, as I mentioned at the beginning, we are serving those who are living with critical and chronic illnesses, who have some kind of underlying condition, which from the research that's come out thus far on COVID-19 tells us that those who are sort of most susceptible to pretty, deadly consequences from this disease seem to be those who do have these underlying conditions. So our vulnerable folks are even more vulnerable during this pandemic. So making sure that they have the food that they need, that is our first priority. Additionally, we have been called upon by other agencies. We're partnering with other agencies throughout the Atlanta metro area, such as Hope Atlanta, who we are helping to provide meals to folks who are living with HIV/AIDS from homelessness and then temporary housing, trying to make sure that they get meals each week. We have served additional retirement and assisted living communities where, again, folks who are seniors seem to be also most susceptible to this virus. We're making sure that those folks that we're stepping up, and when they're asking us to provide more meals, additional meals, new meals, we are making sure that we're filling that need and covering that gap. Additionally, so Open Hand, we actually have quite a sophisticated distribution team. We have a distribution team of staff, but we also rely heavily on volunteers. Volunteers have always been at the heart of what Open Hand does. I mean, we started with our founder and his friends volunteering. You know, nobody was paying them to do this. Nobody was donating to them. They just did it out of the goodness of their hearts, and we still rely on volunteers to help us deliver these meals. So we have a pretty sophisticated distribution system, which has really allowed us to step up to the plate when other agencies and folks have reached out to us, making sure that we can provide meals. So we've also provided an additional 800 meals to those who are suffering from food insecurity right now in Cobb County. We have also partnered with Empire State South and Midtown, which is, of course, a restaurant, to help serve and deliver meals throughout the metro Atlanta area to YMCAs who are right now opening their doors and serving as food access sites for food insecure families. Same thing with Murphy's Restaurant. You know, we're preparing meals, delivering them to Piedmont Hospital for frontline staff. So Open Hand is certainly stepping up to fill the need and making sure that those in our community who rely on our meals, that we can help any way that we can and make sure that we are getting what people need, these basic necessities that they need, into their hands.
Now, how can our listeners help? What do you need more of? Do you need more volunteers? Do you need more restaurants to partner with? Like, it sounds like you have a really good infrastructure in terms of distribution. What can we do to help? Or are you maxed out right now? Like, what do you need?
We can always use help. You know, the more help we need, the more resources we get, the more people we can serve. So, you know, our priorities, we want to make sure that we can serve as many people as we can. So, again, I mentioned volunteering. We rely heavily on volunteers. So we would love to have people come out, volunteer. You know, right now we are abiding by the CDC set out guidelines of social distancing. So when folks come out to volunteer with us and deliver meals, you know, we are making sure they're wearing masks, wearing gloves, doing everything to ensure both their safety and also the safety of those they would be delivering meals to, because again, they're the most vulnerable. But we would love to have volunteers come out, sign up for a shift. You know, our shifts are about 2 to 3 hours. So not even a full day, just take a couple hours out of your day to come and volunteer with us. We would love that. And you can find more information about that on our website, which is openhandatlanta.org. Additionally, we rely heavily on philanthropic donations from the community. As I said, you know, the more resources we have, the more we can do and the more people we can serve. And we have set up an emergency meals fund that also can be seen on our website. Again, that's openhandatlanta.org, where we are taking all of those donations and immediately putting them to use right away, making sure that we are preparing these meals and, again, getting them out into the hands of those who need them most during this time. So volunteers, donations, we can use it all. We are never maxed out. And if there's another way that someone wants to help, feel free just to contact us and get in touch with us and say, hey, how can I help? I'm here. I want to help. Let me know what I can do, and we will put you to work.
Now, you mentioned partnerships with some restaurants or restaurant groups. How does that work if there are restaurant owners that have kitchens and desire, but maybe the restaurant isn't open right now or it's limited? How can they get involved?
So again, you know, we actually have quite a great relationship with the restaurant community. We actually just had an event last week called Dining Out for Life, where we partner with restaurants, and a percentage of proceeds or sales typically comes to Open Hand. We didn't ask them to do that this year because, as you know, the restaurant industry has also been hit particularly hard by this pandemic and the way operations have had to change. But, you know, if there's a restaurant partner who wants to get in touch with us and you know, like I said, we've already partnered with Murphy's and Empire State South to, you know, help distribute meals to some of those folks who are frontline responders. You know, we are always open to creative and new ways to partner together. You know, we are better together. We are stronger together as a community, and we will get through this crisis together by helping one another. So if there's a restaurant or restaurant partner out there who's listening, and wants to partner together, of course, we would love to make that happen.
Now, you mentioned volunteering. What is, like, if I raise my hand and say I want to volunteer, like, what are some of the things I would be doing?
So right now, again, going back to some of the guidelines that have been set out by the CDC, in normal times, folks volunteer in several ways, as delivering meals, as coming onto our campus and packing meals back in our kitchen, cooking those meals, getting them packaged and prepared to go out the door, and also administrative help, where people have expertise and want to come and volunteer their time to give us that expertise. But right now, because of everything that's going on, we are not allowing volunteers onto our campus until we feel it's a little bit safer to do so. So right now, volunteers are only allowed to deliver meals at this time. So if you wanted to come and deliver meals, what you would do is you would, again, go to our website, sign up for a time slot. You would get instructions on what to do, how to move forward when you come to our campus to pick up the meals to be delivered. And again, like I said, it's, a morning shift or an afternoon shift, a couple of hours out of your day, and you would come and deliver meals to probably about 10 to 12 clients that we serve. And that is how we're able to use volunteers right now. But again, we do very, very heavily rely on volunteers with our distribution and delivery system.
And then if I get the meals from you and then I bring them to the person's house, or is it like kind of contactless? How does that kind of handoff happen?
Correct. So yes, again, these are home delivered meals. So you do take them to the individual's house, but again, because of everything going on right now with this pandemic and because our clients are vulnerable, but also we want to protect the safety and health of our volunteers. Yes, we are doing contactless delivery right now. So you would leave the meal or the package outside of our client's door, or some clients have coolers outside of their door. You would leave the meal, contact them, let them know that their food has been delivered, and then they would be able to come out and pick it up so that you have and remain at least 6 feet apart.
So it sounds like you have it down, and it sounds like there's a lot of need out there. So anybody interested in volunteering can just go to the website and then sign up there. Or if they want to donate money, that's available on the website as well, right? If they say, you know what, I'm not up for doing the delivery, but I want to help, you can help by writing a check.
That's right. And we can always use donations. We can always use volunteers. Like I said, we are better together, and we will get out of this together. But, let's make sure our neighbors and our community have the basic needs that they rely on, such as food. And so that's what Open Hand is trying to do. That's what we're working hard to do. And we're going to get through this.
Absolutely. Now, thank you so much, Katie, for all that you do. And one more time, the website for Open Hand Atlanta.
That is openhandatlanta.org.
All right. Well, Katie, thank you again for telling your story and doing the work that you're doing, because there's a lot of need out there. So everybody, please check them out and go to the website openhand.org to learn more. This is Lee Cantor. Thank you so much for listening to Atlanta Business Radio today. And remember, we couldn't be doing this show without our sponsor, OnPay. So please support them so we can continue to tell these important stories. See you next time.
Today's episode of Atlanta Business Radio is brought to you by OnPay. Built in Atlanta, OnPay is the top-rated payroll and HR software anywhere. Get 1 month free at onpay.com.